Transit. It's your boy, me. It's Friday, October 20th, 8:49 a.m. in Maui, Hawaii, and we are in Gate 50 in the sun and Gate 3 in the Earth. It's also worth mentioning that because Gate 3 is active in the Earth and Gate 60 is active through Pluto, that mutate or die, adapt or die, the channel of mutation between the root and the sacral is going to be defined by this transit. Strong definition, because again, it's the Earth and the 3. But as we usually do, we're going to explore the first line on the first day of Gate 50 and Gate 3. And yes, Pluto is still in Gate 60. Pluto's far. It takes a long time to, go through its stuff. So Gate 50 is the cauldron values. This is in the spleen, pointing at the sacral, and it is the value of historical continuity whose traditional values serve and enrich the present and future. Line 1 is the immigrant, humbleness of origin that benefits rather than restricts destiny. Mars in exaltation, the desire to be effective and successful that builds on the most fundamental strengths while it refines its nature. The awareness that the growth and refinement of values will benefit destiny. Venus in detriment, a dissatisfaction with / or embarrassment with origins that make an obsession of refinement. A dissatisfaction with original value that demands refinement. So it's like, are you running towards something or are you running away from something?
Mm-mm. And Dragon says, oh, holy shit, this is super relevant to what world events are happening.
Yeah. Right.
As it's just crazy every time we look at the transits, like, oh, this is happening in the world. Like a collective unbalance. Yeah, it's like people want to choose sides, and it's like there's no sides to pick in this. There's just the one, like, what's been happening is wrong.
Right.
Essentially, in my mind.
People are fighting over beliefs that people had generations before them. And not to like shit on all their traditions and whatnot, but if your tradition is going to call for the severing of this recognition that we're all human beings and we all are life and alive, fuck that, kindly. So anyway, with respect, fuck that. Because it's like, it's a system of again, it's like a moral system. And, I'm advanced and we're all advanced in here because we use human design, which is not a moral system.
Too much control, too much genocide, too much not caring about all life.
Which always comes from not giving a fuck about your own life, right? Like, This is the thing that so many world leaders have fallen into. The reason they don't value life is because they're not actually living theirs. They're public servants and they work for, us, basically, and us, the people, have such a wide band of spectrum in terms of stories we're going to make. Like, you ever think about how much auric energy is thrown at someone like the president or Speaker of the House or politician? Like, you ever think about that? I think about it a lot because it must fucking suck to be collectively responsible for billions of people, Bring on the synarchy. Exactly. Like it's happening already with again, in COVID, everything is like unknowingly like leading us towards this more tribal way of being. It's a more indigenous way of being. Ultimately, it's a,
the return.
It's a more natural way of being, and human design is here to ultimately guide us through that, so we can figure out, well, actually, what is natural, right? And more so it's just like, again, the opportunity to experiment with awareness and then use what the awareness collects, not necessarily the awareness of the system, human design, and the knowledge within it itself, but what it turns into through the experiment.
Soul Prospering, we're talking about gate 50, and we're in the first line, first day.
Which is
gate
the immigrant.
50 is in the sun.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's also one thing to point out here is, right, like the detriment of this gate is to be embarrassed with one's origins, which we were just kind of in that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, I'm embarrassed by the politicians, and being an American and the representation that I have, I should be embarrassed because ultimately I didn't do much to, make sure that someone was in that position who actually deserves to be in that position. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to go get involved in politics. That's a perfect example of like what getting swept up in the transit can feel like, right?
Yeah.
So,
and just a quick question: what time's the AMA?
The AMA is at 9:15.
Okay. Do we have time for me to read the judgment?
Yep.
Cool. So we got gate 50, which is Ting, the cauldron. So this is only one of two of the hexagrams in the book of changes that represent concrete man-made objects, which is kind of an interesting thought that I throw in there. Yet here too, the thought has its abstract connotation. So the judgment is the cauldron, supreme good fortune, success. While the well relates to the social foundation of our life, and this foundation is likened to the water that serves to nourish growing wood, the present hexagram refers to the cultural superstructure of society. Here it is the wood that serves as nourishment for the flame, the spirit. All that is visible must grow beyond itself, extend into the realm of the invisible. Thereby it receives its true consecration and clarity and takes firm root in the cosmic order. Here we see civilization as it reaches its culmination in religion. The Ting serves an offering sacrifice to God. The highest earthly values must be sacrificed to the divine, but the truly divine does not manifest itself apart from man. The supreme revelation of God appears in prophets and holy men. To venerate them is true veneration of God. The will of God, as revealed through them, should be accepted in humility. This brings inner enlightenment and true understanding of the world, and this leads to great good fortune and success. So it's like, the way I see it is like finding out where you are in the layer of the cauldron. Are you the fire? Are you the wood? Are you the water within the cauldron? Are you the cauldron holding the water? And playing that part in society and making sure you stay in there, right? So we'll go on to the image, the fire over wood, the image of the cauldron. Thus the superior man consolidates his fate by making his position correct. The fate of fire depends on wood. As long as there is wood below, the fire burns above. It is same in human life. There is a man likewise a fate that lends power to his life. And if he succeeds in assigning the right place to life and to fate, thus bringing the two into harmony, he puts his fate on a firm footing. These words contain hints about the fostering of life as handed on by oral traditions in the secret teachings of Chinese yoga, which is the I Ching Ching.
Kung Fu.
Oh, yeah, they just talked about Kung Fu in the book. Oh my god.
Chinese book talking about Kung Fu? Are you kidding me?
I think I'm going Super Saiyan.
This is unheard of.
So the harmony of fate and like the a fate that lends power to life. Yeah, it's like assigning the right place of life and fate meeting up in the middle there. It's like the image of like having a fire that burns, but also being able to utilize wood of life to burn that fire. So like, I want to be a Kung Fu instructor. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go train. That's the wood that keeps the fire burning so I can continue to cultivate that practice for myself. One more, the lines. 6 at the beginning means a ting with legs upturned. Further removal of stagnating stuff. One takes a concubine for the sake of her son. No blame. If a ting, which is the cauldron, is turned upside down before being used, no harm is done. On the contrary, this clears it of refuse. A concubine's position is lowly, but because she has a son, she comes to be honored. These two metaphors express the idea that in a highly developed civilization, such as that indicated by this hexagram, every person of goodwill can in some way or another succeed. No matter how lowly he may be, provided he is ready to purify himself, he is accepted. He attains a station in which he can prove himself fruitful in accomplishment, and as a result, he gains recognition.
Holographic Babel literally says 850 has been calling me to purify things within myself.
That is great. Clear out the shadows, finding more balance. And holographic Bagel, you said that you have 5 placements of 50 in your chart. Is that true?
Did you say that?
Pretty sure you did.
Was that earlier? I said yes.
And yesterday. Yeah.
Wow.
That's wow. Do you have 50.1 in any of them?
5.
Nice.
Big 50 vibes.
Big 50 vibes.
Big 50 vibes.
Yeah. Trick light.
So this is paying attention to origin as it relates to the future and allowing the style of reflection that you have on your origins, how that impacts your future direction and your fate. Which is something worth noting. Again, like, are you running towards something or are you running away from something else? Personally, what I'm going through is part of my... Okay, so I was really excited that I called the landlord. Called the landlord. He said, we're tearing the hut down. You guys can tear it down, so that's great. We're going to get paid to tear it down, so that way no fucking, local boys come and mess up the yard and are loud and anyway. We get to tear it down, and they were going to do a rebuild here, but they didn't know when, and knowing them, it would have taken like months. Then I wouldn't have had an office. And so I was just like, hey, I'm just going to build a tiny house here. Is that okay? And he's like, well, yeah, I'm not going to like raise your rent for having a tiny house parked here. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm just going to do that instead. Don't worry about building another hut. Maybe give me some month credit or something. I should ask that. That would have been good. I can still ask that because it is a maybe saving them some money by not buying a shed. But anyway, I digress. I definitely was feeling like the that little potential of depression yesterday, and a little bit of the depression, the anxiety of like having to now build a structure to like continue my work. And I'm relating it to this gate. It's like there was this sense of feeling like I was running away from the fear. Like part of me was like, maybe I don't build a tiny house. Maybe I do something else. Like maybe I just build a shed. And I'm like, but then I just shot myself in the foot because they were going to build a shed, but I didn't want to wait for them. Anyway, there's a lot of this external energy that was, yes, exactly, not really about the tiny house. And it was so much about this, again, the refinement that was coming from a place of dissatisfaction rather than the refinement of values that will actually benefit my destiny. So, the more that I talk about it and conceptualize it, I realize how huge of an upgrade this actually is for me to build an environment with which I can completely design it myself. Like every office I've been in, even my van back in San Diego was created prior to me having like a level of design input. So this is something that I can actually start from the ground up, similar to this Discord, and make it how I want it. So I moved from that external influence back into my internal influence, checked in with all of the lunar cycles that I've written out, and the conviction of how beneficial it would be to have a tiny studio on wheels out here in Maui. And it's like I've done a lot of lunar cycles on this one. So
what Sean said here is fire.
What do you say?
And it's kind of relevant to what you were saying about like the external and internal. So the wood, fire, and water and the cauldron work in harmony to warm and feed/nourish us. Over time, the collective created the microwave. Faster, easier, but also killing us with unhealthy frequency and food. time to revisit what we need, food and warmth, and how we do it going forward.
Hell yeah. And one of my plans, I don't want to build it with like drywall and plywood because
Exactly
that
what I was
stuff is
thinking.
super toxic.
Yeah.
But I just found a new material last night that is like, normally we would use tongue and groove boards. I don't know if I can build it out of bamboo. That would be kind of crazy cool though. Because there's so much of it out here. But one of the things I was thinking about is they sell these, there's like a metal foam and then metal. I was thinking about using that. But anyway, this isn't Tiny House Talks. Should I create a channel for tiny houses? Tiny living
your
situations?
excitement.
I like low key actually might need to do something like that in here though, like villager. Like anyone want the villager class?
Dragons all in.
Or townsperson class? We can just talk about regenerative agroforestry and more human conducive spaces. Harmonic architecture.
Well, you know what's funny is I ran in. Do you remember Chris, who's come out to Lodge a few times, like Beard?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I ran into him at the coffee shop too, and he was talking about organic architecture and like building bridges out of trees. Like he's actually going to be working on a project up at Peahi where he's going to build or plant a tree and then tend to it so that it becomes a bridge over the gulch.
Yeah, that's the stuff right there.
And building into the side of a hill as a home. Have you tried?
Plus, have you ever tried taping and spackling drywall? Yeah, it's like
it's terrible.
Not fun. Cool. Well, Gate 50 is going to reveal those values for us. Historical continuity. Traditional values serve and enrich the present and the future, which as the awareness in the spleen, knowing what to cut away, the 50 is the thing that tells us when we're taking on too much responsibility, right? Or if we're not taking on enough responsibility. And again, if it's fixed inside you, you will have a sense of what your responsibility is or what is too much or what needs to be more of. And if you don't have it active, then you're going to be better at revealing that in others, but it's going to be confusing for you to figure out for yourself when you've taken on too much.
Before we jump to Gate 3, we talk about Gate 27, that channel, like how that, like 50 and 27.
Yeah. So I think 27 is like the mouth. I want to actually like find it because 27.
The corners of the mouth. Providing nourishment.
238. Right. Nourishment. Too. So this one is, I just want to see what kinds of channels they are.
Mm-hmm.
Custodianship, generated channel. That's part of the defense circuit. That's right. Okay. So with this channel, traditional values, laws of the tribe are needed to maintain order and to enrich and guard life, originate with Gate 50. 27 is the gate of caring, which is like nurturing, making sure that all the stuff is quality, that everyone's getting what they need. I often describe it as like a satisfaction with taking care of others and nourishing others. So together it becomes this channel of knowing your capacity while simultaneously being driven to care for others and care for the tribes. Again, part of the defense circuit of the ego.
Yeah.
It's here to defend the tribe.
Which,
and the laws of the
some
tribe.
People with Gate 27, that sounds accurate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now, like, if you have 27 and now 50 is active, so now what you're going to become more aware of is which values are worth maintaining and defending. Is really what it comes down to.
Right.
Which is a beautiful question. Thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm. I'm alive.
You're alive today.
And wake up feeling drained.
I know, I woke up so drained. But it was actually really cool because I came in the house and I was just like sitting and meditating. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Go ahead and will you read this one? I gotta go run Emerald something real quick.
Okay. She's coming to the door right there. Let's do it. Hello. I am taking over the show.
Take over.
You know what it is. All right. Gate 3. Difficulty at the beginning, which is ordering. The fundamental challenge of initiation is to transcend confusion and establish order. So line 1, synthesis. Difficulties can be only overcome when all the pertinent factors have been analyzed. So the exaltation, which I believe is in Earth, so I think we have this fixed in Earth. Let's see here. Yep. So we're fixed in the exaltation in this line. The understanding that confusion is natural and must always exist before clarity can be achieved. Innate knowing that order will emerge from confusion. Pretty straightforward. I don't have an open throat like Coco, so I can't just like and say all these beautiful things and it make a lot of sense. But you guys get it. You know, you ever feel that confusion that comes through and you're just like, how am I going to figure this thing out? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I got the answer to it, right? It's just as simple as that. There he is, right there in the back. You back?
Yeah.
All right, do the open throat thing.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome back, me, to the show.
Welcome back.
Do the open throat thing.
Like, I'll just say it. That's it.
I don't have an open throat. I have an undefined throat.
undefined.
But, you know, it's an honest mistake that I still make sometimes. There's mine.
Welcome back.
So did you already read this one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well.
But it's fixed in exaltation.
Okay, interesting.
So I didn't read that.
Okay, well, let's read that just to see. All right, so that, which I forget what that symbol is. The reliance on intellect at the expense of intuition can lead to unnecessary frustration, the inability to know what order will emerge, and the drive to find this knowing elsewhere. So both of these seem like in the investigation for the purpose of refinement. Right? Of like becoming better over time or getting better, but there's like a style, right, with it, and like a patience and an acknowledgement that, you know, if you're embarrassed of your origins, that was gate 50, then that's going to, you know, the refinement will be sourced from that place. And here is if you are not at peace or not understanding that order arises out of confusion, that is also things. So the 360, right, is, and Prana put it so beautifully, it's adapt or die. But you have the root pressure, which is to know and overcome your limitations, and then 3, which is the mutative quality that brings through the ability to mutate. Right, and this is the format channel for the individual system, which is all about like melancholy and sadness, basically. Right? You guys know what melancholy is? Kind of melancholy. Scorpio's sun. Who cares? And so part of that melancholy is like, I don't know when the mutation is going to occur. I don't know when the revelation, where this pressure goes. I don't necessarily know when that's going to hit, but I trust that it will hit at some point when it's supposed to hit. And, you know, again, the biggest issue that a lot of people have today is they're just not patient. They're not patient, and they don't hold on to the thing that they actually want long enough because they're not patient. And so they'll accept something that's not actually what they want. It could be half the value of what they want, but they will accept that because they're not willing to be patient. Which I'm totally speaking to myself in a lot of ways. My birthday is on the full moon this year. Here we go. I'm rewriting patience for my birthday. Yeah, it's like patience. And this is the thing, is patience is the prize. It's not like you're develop patience so that you can get the thing that you want. Develop patience so that you can develop patience. So that when the thing that you want comes, it's, number one, you're not necessarily, you know, like there was an expectation in the sense that it's like if you're patient and you're disciplined, all the things that you want are just going to come to you. But the benefit is in spending your time developing that patience and developing the practice of non-reactivity and separating yourself, distinguishing yourself ultimately from this external validation. Like so much more focused on the the manifestation of one's circuitry as opposed to again the things that you want.
A wild prana has appeared.
A wild prana has appeared, dude. So one thing that I need to start getting on, I really want to start getting on because I think it'd be so much fun. They have a soundboard situation in here. Oh, let's take these out now. Here, we would be able to press the button and it'll be like. So when a wild prana does appear, we can.
What's up, prana?
Gotta catch me.
This probably still plugged in.
I'm not here yet.
Oh, maybe that's why it was so bogged down and running all night. Hey, Prana, how we doing?
Hey, yeah, pretty good.
Awesome. Well, we just finished the tea and transits. Yeah. Oh no, we didn't finish the tea and transits.